So this is the Marvel Disney Plus tier list. I've done Marvel like as a whole with like the films and everything. I did it on my second channel, but I want to do this because the shows there's been more shows come out since I've done it. There's also She-Hulk, which isn't on here, but they're quite a controversial subject. So we'll start with Loki, and I'm gonna say this now, and I'll say it again. Loki, top tier. It's the best Marvel show. It hasn't been topped. It's so good from start to finish. Incredible. Like literally, the acting in it's good. The pacing in it's good. What happens in it is incredible. It's the first Marvel. It's the only Marvel show, in my opinion, that has a really solid structure and knows where it's going. I'm excited for if they do another season. That last episode introducing Kang wasn't even like. That was one of them where like I wanted them to do it, but I didn't think they were going to do it, and then they did it. So it was so good. Falcon and Winter Soldier. If you'd heard me talk about this show in the past, you know that's going straight into the D tier. It annoyed me so much. It was horrible. I hated it because it was just a nothing show. Like realistically, all they needed from that show was to turn Falcon into Captain America, and that was it. There was some cool moments, like when he snaps. That's a good moment. That is a cool moment when he snaps and uses the shields. And I thought, oh, this show's turning round. I think it's gonna turn good. I think it's gonna be good. And then nothing happens. And then it gets to the last episode, and the new Captain America just suddenly turns into a good guy. It makes no sense for the character at all. They just did a complete switch up on what they were going to do with it, and in my opinion it's just a boring show. Nothing happens. It should have just been Falcon as well, because I feel like they've disrespected my boy Bucky. He should have had more of a spotlight. More should have been done to his character. Falcon and Winter Soldier, in my opinion, the biggest pile of shite that has been released on Disney Plus, especially after it was released after WandaVision, and I actually had like semi high hopes for it. It just bored me to death. I hated it. I didn't like it. Although now I'm looking at Miss Marvel and I'm thinking maybe that's worse. But anyway, we'll get onto that later. What's chat saying with that? In my opinion, Loki should have its own tier. C tier, B tier? Jesus Christ knows. Okay, right. Next up we have What If. Now, I think that this show is underrated. I actually really liked it. I think people took it a bit too seriously and didn't just take it for what it is. Yeah, there are other concepts that I do think they should have done, as opposed to some of the ones that they did, but also it made sense for the the series finale and everything that happened then. And also, those last two episodes with Ultron and everything are just genuinely so good. Like, I love them. So, for that, I think it almost saved it a little bit, because those last two episodes were so good. Like, so good. And the zombies episode, decent. I'm trying to think of the other episodes now. I think the reason that people don't like it is because like the first couple episodes, it's a bit of a slow start. I think it's a bit of a slow burner, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think it's incredible. Don't get me wrong. It's got a lot of like room to improve, and I hope in the season 2 they do mainstream plot lines in a way. Like, oh, what if the other half got snapped and stuff like that. It is still decent, so I'm gonna chuck it in B tier. We're quite spread out at the minute. I kind of like it. Moon Knight. This one conflicts me a little bit, I won't lie, because I love it. I love it a lot, but I also was left unsatisfied by the ending. I feel like it was so good, and then it kind of slipped. Like, it's got some of the best acting in the MCU, it's got some of the best fight scene in the MCU. That one at like the carnival setting, so good, and it got off to such a strong start. But then there's a few parts in it where it's a little bit like, it annoys me in a way that if you binge watch it, it's not good. So for example, when he falls off the boat and the counterpart dies, if you were watching that in like back to back, he's back and alive within 5 minutes. So it makes his death completely pointless. I think the reason the show lacks a little bit is because of how short the series is. If it was 8 episodes, 10 episodes, I think it would have had time to develop a little bit more, flourish a little bit more. But instead, it just felt like they were building. Oh, it's done. And it was a little bit rushed. I understand there's some people's criticisms as well of the finale, in that it was a weird, like, Godzilla type fight. I didn't understand it either, I won't lie. I did, but it was just a little bit, I don't know, I wasn't a massive fan of it. And I also think they could have gone a lot grittier with it. I think if they'd have, I don't know, because obviously it's a Marvel TV show. They're not going to go super gritty, and everyone keeps going, go gritty, but it's like, It's Marvel, except the fact it's not going to be as gritty. Although saying that, the Werewolf at Midnight, or Werewolf at Night, perfect, incredible, love that. Do more of that, Marvel. But Moon Knight, if it was properly gritty, even bro, if you gave Moon Knight an R rating, it would be one of the best things I've ever seen by Marvel. But for all those reasons, I'm going to put it an A. Because if you compare it to some of the other shows, it is still one of the better ones. Why does every Marvel show end with an awful looking CGI battle? Moon Knight looked a bit like a Fortnite character. I know what you mean. It does always end with a CGI battle. WandaVision. And this one, again, kind of conflicts me. Because I liked it. But also, it was the first one. And I didn't know what to expect. I went into it all excited. I went into it all happy. The creativity of the show is really good up until the last episode, I think. The way it's filmed and the acting and everything is really good up until the last episode. It's just let down as well by the fact that it almost leads you on. Like, they had so many things pointing to other directions, and it just didn't give me what I thought it was going to give me. But Marvel knew, like, with the whole Ralph Boner at the end, it's just so stupid. Like, why you gotta lead us on like that? And it's not even got an effect in the multiverse. Like, that whole thing is so annoying. I'm gonna put it at the top of B. For me personally, I think it's better than What If, definitely, but it's not better than Moon Knight, and it's definitely not better than Loki. I'm tempted to move Moon Knight into A because it was really good. Screw it. I'm changing my mind. I have changed my mind. It's going in A. Hawkeye. Low key, right? Hawkeye was something I wasn't expecting. I was not excited for this show at all. I thought it was going to be rubbish. I thought it was going to be boring. I thought, why have you given this guy a TV show? However, actually pretty decent. I will say, not incredible, and it's got a couple flaws. But, like, the car chase scene, the way that's filmed and how it's all that one take and stuff, one of the best car chase scenes in Marvel. It's got comedy that's good. I liked the whole Yelena stuff. I loved all that. I do see, like, after watching it, why they did a show for him. Because it does make a lot of sense for the whole series, and it makes a whole lot of sense for sort of wrapping up that whole arc for Yelena. There is a couple things I would have liked to see, and I feel like they did Kingpin a little bit dirty. And also, it suffers from a thing that 99% of things suffer from in Marvel, and Star Wars shows as well, just Disney Plus, is that they introduce the bad guy way too late, and it's way too short. If you're going to do a 6-episode series, put Kingpin in maybe the 3rd episode, the end of the 3rd, and then you've got 3 more episodes to develop and get that on. But instead, it was just like, last episode, here's the bad guy. But you only saw him at the last minute of the last episode, and then he's gone. He's done within 1 episode. It's just really annoying. Make Marvel shows 8 episodes or longer. 8 to 15, perfect. 12, chef's kiss. But 8, I will accept 8. Better than 6. 6 is just way too short. And I think the reason that they've been doing 6 is because I honestly think that they didn't plan to make these TV shows. I think these were all going to be films, and then they went, oh shit, we've got to make this new Disney Plus model thing. Let's stretch them all out into TV shows, and that's what's happened. I don't know. They don't feel like they're written in a TV show way. So for me, Hawkeye, really good, but lacks a little bit. And I'm going to go with, is it better than WandaVision? I don't know. I'm actually really struggling here. I'm going to put it in B. And below WandaVision. I could do with rewatching WandaVision because I only watched it once, and it might have a better replay value when you watch through the whole thing. But okay, next we have Miss Marvel. And before we tear this, I'm not the main demographic for this. And I think something that the Marvel fan base needs to really realise is that I think Marvel are going in a way where you shouldn't watch every show. If it's not for you, don't watch it. Like, I think we've gone through a phase in time where you were supposed to watch everything. You were supposed to watch every film to understand everything. And I think as things progress in the Marvel universe, it's almost like comics. You don't read every single Marvel comic, and it's impossible to read every Marvel comic book series. And so I genuinely do think that it's I gave up on Miss Marvel after 3 episodes because I just was like, it is aimed at a younger demographic and also a different demographic in terms of like culture and things like that. It had its alright moments. It was quite a fun show, and I'm not saying that you should watch, because you should realistically watch stuff outside of your demographic. You should expand your taste, expand your culture, or your knowledge and everything. But I'm more mean towards like the childish essence of the show. Like, you look at Moon Knight and you look at Miss Marvel, they are not made for the same audience. Like, and so Marvel fans need to understand that not every show is going to be for you. Not every show is going to be made for you, and you're not going to enjoy every single show. It's just impossible. And if it was, and if they did do that, it'd get so boring because every show would be the same. Based on that, I will say Miss Marvel could have actually been better, even for its demographic. I'm going to put it in C. I think it's better than Falcon and Winter Soldier, because even the demographic of Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was just boring. But Miss Marvel had its fun elements. The animations at the beginning were fun. It was quite a cool, like, coming of age sort of story. But at the end of the day, for me, it fell kind of flat. And as I say, I didn't watch it after a bit. I gave up on it. We also obviously have She-Hulk, which isn't on the tier list, but we can add it in theoretically anyway. I actually really enjoyed She-Hulk. I enjoyed it more than a lot of people did who I've spoke to. I think people needed to understand with that show that it wasn't a serious story-driven show. It was just a bit of fun, and I think that's what it's realised. And I think a second series of that show would be a lot better for the fact that that's established now. However, if you're going to do that, there's a few things that you need for it to be like a running comedy. Firstly, more episodes. It needs at least 12 episodes, and it also needs like consistent locations. I know that She-Hulk did have that with like the office and her house and stuff like that, but it needs a little bit more. And also, if you're gonna do a comedy show like that, it needs to not have forced in parts for like Marvel storylines and stuff like that. Like I like the Abomination stuff, I understand it for later in the season, but like when that was like really serious in episode 2, I think it was it 3? I think it might have been 3, when there was the whole Megan Thee Stallion bit. The whole episode should have been focused on the Megan Thee Stallion bit, not, oh, here's Megan Thee Stallion bit, that's the comedy show, but here's also Emil Blansky trying to get out. It was very conflicting as a show. Saying that, last episode of it, mint, loved it, made me laugh, it was good. Yeah, I'm going to put that, I don't know, I think it's going to go top of B. Top of B tier for She-Hulk. That's where that's going for me. And that is my Disney Marvel shows tier list.